Vianne Roche, a woman with a mysterious past and an equally mysterious present, and her 6-year-old daughter, Anouk, roam Europe like a tumbleweed. Their lives are subject to the whims of the north wind, the same force that drove Vianne's mother to leave their homes and seek new horizons. The year 1959 finds them on the doorstep of a quiet French town, as if frozen in time, whose life is strictly regulated and subject to established traditions. The time of their arrival is especially symbolic of the eve of Lent, a period of abstinence, humility, and spiritual preparation for Easter. The town is ruled solely by Count Paul de Reynaud, a mayor whose authority is unwavering and whose beliefs are conservative to the core. Reynaud is the embodiment of moral principles, a zealous Catholic for whom tradition and order are paramount. He does not tolerate any deviation from the established rules and strictly monitors the observance of all religious precepts. His life, seemingly blameless, is marred only by the personal tragedy of his wife leaving him, a fact he stubbornly refuses to acknowledge. Living only a ghost of the past, Vianne, with her vibrant personality and independent spirit, immediately becomes a white crow in this patriarchal society. She does not follow the established norms, does not attend church, and has a certain attractive aura that both delights and alarms. Without much thought, she rents a small space on the main street and opens a chocolate shop, an establishment that seems completely out of place in a town preparing for Lent. The aroma of chocolate, vanilla, and spices emanating from Vianne's shop, like a magic potion, begins to attract the townspeople. Vianne herself, with her radiant smile and ability to recognize other people's desires, quickly wins the sympathy of some of the inhabitants, offering them not just chocolate, but a real temptation, a small joy that can melt the ice in their hearts. She intuitively feels what each visitor needs and selects for them a special kind of chocolate that can solve their problems or simply lift their spirits. Vianne invites them to her shop, inviting them to taste her exquisite sweets and enjoy the atmosphere of freedom and lightness. However, Vianne's rapid recognition and success provoke the Count de Reynaud's fury and resentment. He sees her as a threat to the established order, a temptress, undermining the moral foundations of the city. Reynaud is convinced that Vianne is distracting people from their spiritual preparation for Easter and leading them astray. He has no intention of allowing this heretic to continue to run amok in his town, so he launches a real war against her. Reynaud urges the townspeople to boycott Vianne's shop, inciting hatred and spreading foul rumors about her. Despite Reynaud's opposition, Vianne finds her first allies. One of them is Armande Voisin, an elderly landlady who rents Vianne the shop. Armande is a bright, cheerful woman who, despite her advanced age, has retained her love of life and sharp mind. She has no fear of social judgment and enjoys visiting Vianne's shop, enjoying her chocolates and her company. However, Armande has a serious problem with her daughter Caroline, an overbearing and strict woman who restricts Armande's communication with her grandson Luc, believing that his grandmother is a bad influence on him. Caroline believes that Armande spoils Luc and encourages his disobedience. She does not allow them to see each other, depriving them of the joy of communicating with each other. Vianne, seeing Armande and Luc suffering, decides to help them. She arranges a secret meeting between them in her chocolate shop, where they can spend time together, enjoy chocolate and just be close to each other. Luc is delighted with his grandmother in Vianne's magical shop with its atmosphere of kindness and warmth. He enjoys listening to her stories and playing games with her. Armande is happy to see her grandson and feel his love. However, Caroline finds out about their secret meetings and becomes furious. She accuses Vianne of destroying her family and undermining her authority. Caroline reveals to Vianne the secret of her mother's diabetes, but despite this, she continues to visit the chocolate shop and eat sweets. Caroline is convinced that Armande is deliberately damaging her health to spite her. Vianne, realizing the complexity of the situation, tries to talk to Caroline and explain to her that Armande needs her love and care, not strict prohibitions. She convinces Caroline to let Armande see Luc and not to deprive them of the joy of spending time with each other. In addition to Armande, Vianne finds support in Josephine, a young woman who was being physically abused by her husband Serge, the owner of a local cafe. Serge is a rude and violent man who regularly beats Josephine, humiliates her and gives her no freedom. Josephine lives in constant fear and despair, not knowing where to go and how to escape from her tormentor. Vianne, seeing Josephine's suffering, offers her her friendship and support. She invites her to her shop where Josephine can rest, relax, and feel safe. Vianne helps Josephine to believe in herself and gain confidence in her abilities. Thanks to their friendship, Josephine finds the courage to leave Serge after another beating and move in with Vianne and Anouk. Josephine begins working in a chocolate shop, learning the craft of chocolatier. She is passionate about learning how to make chocolates and other sweets, showing a remarkable talent. As she works and socializes with Vianne and Anouk, her confidence gradually grows and she begins to feel like a contributing member of society. At the same time, under Renaud's guidance, Serge tries to make amends for his abuse of Josephine. He attends church, prays, and asks for forgiveness from God and Josephine. Renaud convinces Serge that he must change and prove to Josephine that he can be a good husband. Eventually, Serge asks Josephine to return to him, promising her that he will never hurt her again. However, Josephine, having gained her self-confidence and freedom, refuses. Later that night, a drunken Serge, in a state of passion, breaks into the chocolate shop and attacks Vianne and Josephine. He screams, swears, and tries to beat them up. However, Josephine, gathering all her strength, fights back and knocks him out. As the rivalry between Vianne and Renaud intensifies, a group of river gypsies camp near the village. Their appearance is disliked and feared by most of the townspeople. The townspeople regard the gypsies as thieves, rogues, and troublemakers. Renaud urges them to kick them out of town and not allow them to desecrate their land. Vianne, however, unlike the rest of the townspeople, welcomes the gypsies with cordiality. She sees them as free and independent people living in harmony with nature. Vianne provides the Roma with shelter, food, and work. A mutual attraction develops between her and the gypsy leader Roux. Roux is a handsome, strong and charismatic man who charms Vianne with his free-spirited nature and his ability to enjoy life. With the return of the north wind, which has always served as a sign of change for Vianne, she begins to doubt her ability to defeat Renaud and change the town. She feels that her efforts are futile and that she will not be able to break the established traditions and prejudices. Vianne decides it is time to leave and look for a new place where she can live freely and do what she loves. Vianne informs Anouk of her decision. However, Anouk, who is now attached to the city, her new friends and her chocolate shop, refuses to leave. She does not want to change her residence again and start from scratch. During an emotional scuffle between Vianne and Anouk, the urn containing the ashes of Vianne's mother breaks and the ashes are scattered on the floor. This event becomes a turning point in Vianne's life. She realizes that her mother has always been there for her and that she must follow her example of being strong, independent, and not afraid of change. Despite the changing moods in town, Renaud remains adamant in his refusal to give up chocolate. He continues to fast and pray, hoping that he can keep the town from sin and temptation. On the Saturday night before Easter, Renaud sees Caroline, whom he likes, leaving the chocolate shop, and it devastates him. He realizes that his efforts are futile and that he cannot control the feelings and desires of others. Finally broken, Renaud sneaks into the chocolate shop at night with the intention of trashing it. But then, falling into despair, he begins to greedily devour the chocolate. The next morning, Vianne does not leave, but stays. Renaud admits her weaknesses, and agrees that chocolate is not evil, and there is no need to fight. Joy Anouk, who has grown up, remembers that the sermon and Easter festival were a success. Renaud and Caroline begin a relationship 6 months later. Josephine takes over Serge's cafe, renaming it Armand's Cafe, in honor of her loyal friend and mentor. The north wind returns, but this time Vianne scatters her mother's ashes to the wind, letting go of the past and embracing the present. Anouk concludes the story by saying that Roux returns in the summer to be with Vianne and Anouk, and that their lives have finally found harmony and peace.